Good morning, everyone. And in the famous words of Shakespeare, to Brie or not to Brie. So, yes, here it is, Cheese Friday once again. And our cheese of the week is going to be Brie. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Radical Geek YouTube. It is one of our Cheese Friday episodes, and today we're going to talk about Brie. In the United States, Brie usually comes in these little rounds in a variety of sizes, wrapped in a paper just to keep it sealed. Once you get in there, though, that's where we get to see the actual Brie. It is in a natural rind. It is a white mold. Don't let that scare you. It's completely edible. The white mold is actually considered a delicacy, so it's something that we can eat and enjoy. It is a very soft cheese, a very, very creamy, spreadable. It's not something you slice up or cut. However, you do often put it on like a charcuterie because it is great with a lot of other items on the charcuterie, especially your dried fruits, etc., etc. If you're not keto, you'll want to do, if you are keto, you won't necessarily want the dried fruits or even the fresh fruits, or you might have some special keto crackers, but we're going to use our lovely bacon chips a la Dr. Barry's deep fry method. So, love that, and we're going to take it up a notch today, and we're going to smoke it. If it's the summer, we're outside, we may as well enjoy it, right? Which is why I'm not cutting right into this yet. Usually there's a lot of different things you can do with Brie, and we may feature this a few times and do a couple different recipes. Excuse me. You can wrap it up with pastry. We're going to do a topping today, and I will show you that or talk to you about it as soon as we get this in the smoker. And as soon as I take a drink of this coffee to clear my throat. The pollen is outrageous here right now, which is weird because our cottonwood is all done, but man, everyone I know is like dying, and I am no exception to that rule. Oh, the coffee's good this morning. Alright, so I just have a piece of parchment here. I'm going to take my Brie, throw it right on there. This is one of my smoker pans. You can tell because it gets all stained, and no matter what you do, it doesn't come clean. Even the clean cycle on the oven doesn't undo the discolor. And we just toss it right in there. Just double checking. It's going to take like 5 minutes to start. I've got my smoker here set to 225. We just need it to go for like 5 minutes. Then we're going to deal with the topping part. Toppings on Brie are interesting. You can do a lot of variety. Sometimes we make a nice little berry compote with a bit of citrus in it, and that's super nice on there. But I find that it's not always my favorite pairing with my bacon chips. So what I have chosen to do today is I toasted off some almonds in the little saute pan, and then I threw in a tablespoon and a half of regular powdered allulose and a teaspoon of allulose, and it's just all -u-lose honey syrup. It's no actual honey, it's fake honey flavor, and a half a teaspoon of cinnamon. And I just melted that all in with the toasted almonds, and that is what we're going to put on top here after the first 5 minutes in the smoker. Smoking cheese is pretty awesome, and the nice thing about smoking our Brie is we're not looking to infuse the smoke and then age it back off. We are actually just giving it some smoky flavor to the cheese, and especially to that natural papery rind. The rind will soften up, it's entirely edible, and then once you add the topping that blends with the smoke and the spice, it all really comes together, gives it a really good umami, almost like a pairing between the salty funkiness of the cheese paired down with the sweet and the delightfulness of the very thick bacon, it all, I don't know how to explain, but it all comes together. So I assure you that's a great thing. So about Brie, I already told you it's a soft cheese. There's no question about it. It's not on the fence. It's a soft cheese. It's very creamy. That bloomy white mold rind I told you is a delicacy. It is a cow's milk cheese, and some people say the Brie can taste fruity. Now I will tell you, the round that I got today says it's a Parisian style. It's it's more towards the nutty end, and a French Brie, French style Brie. I know Parisian is still French style, but the labeling makes difference because it's modeled more after the regions in France, and we'll get into this even more. Oh, I got the controversial cheese today. So, but if you get one that's just French style, which is what you get like in the big rounds at Costco, which are excellent, that definitely leans more towards that fruity after hint. So all of those things make it sound like Brie is French, and in fact a lot of places and sources will tell you Brie originated in France. And plot twist, they sort of took it over and then made it their own, but really cheese historians often will tell you that they actually believe that Brie was developed in the Middle East. So, which kind of explains the flavor profile just a little bit more, because it really fits in that genre, and also why it goes well with like a heavy spicing. I used the cinnamon today because I just am a cinnamon fanatic, but you could easily throw in some cardamom or a little bit of allspice and really beef it up. A little bit of chili flake in there is also nice. I've actually done Brie before where I've taken the allulose type syrups and infused it with my ghost pepper chilies or habaneros. Habaneros are chef's kiss delightful, and made like that hot and spicy jammy syrup to put on the Brie. And that's spectacular, especially if you've got like a very generic-y almond flour cracker. I know a lot of people don't like nuts. I still eat nuts. If nuts are not your thing, don't worry about it. You actually don't have to put a topping on there. It just really highlights it. So, I mentioned that I had like the controversial cheese, and that was all the whole Middle East versus France, etc., etc. But the other thing is that most of the cheese we buy here in the U.S. is not imported, unless you're going to a specialty cheese shop with imported cheeses, or a marketplace that has an imported cheese section. You're going to pay big bucks for actual Brie from France. Brie that is made in the United States is technically not authentic Brie, but close enough. It's sort of like we have Guinness in the United States, but if you go to Ireland and you have the Guinness, it's like 1,000 times better and different. Guinness in the US is still good, but it's definitely not the same. And that's okay, but part of that is because the French Brie is made with raw milk, raw cow's milk, and in the United States that is a big no-no. You cannot do it, and the aging process with that raw milk, we will never allow that here in the United States, so it's just not a thing here. And that's part of why it's a little, maybe it's a bit mellower than your authentic French Brie. So that's probably why those are some of the differences. You might, if you've traveled abroad and you got it and it was like creamier and stinkier, but also still super extra delicious, and you come to the United States and you're like, this Brie is much more milder and tolerable on my palate. Well, that's why. Now you know. So that is your Brie facts. It will tell you that I didn't do the smell before I put it in there, but I've smelled Brie plenty of times. It has a teensy bit of pungency, but mostly it has like a very nutty sort of scent that goes into your nasal cavities. I know that doesn't sound real exciting, but trust me, when it comes to smelling cheeses or coffees or things like that, it's really important. I'm very fortunate that I have like an extra super sensitive, it's actually called a super sniffer, but that's also very unfortunate because there are times when I'm like, what's that repulsive smell? And nobody else can smell it but me. So for me, I obviously love American Brie, and there are plenty of times when I don't need to do anything elaborate. Really, this is just for funsies today. I'm just enjoying myself, and I thought it would be fun for you guys too. So let's go ahead and let me get my little gripper because we don't burn our paws here. Alright, so it's just started to get warm. It's just really, you're not going to be able to see on the camera. Lightly, the rind is starting to color. And I'm just going to take my very stiff caramel that with the allulose, because you do let it solidify. You don't want it to be completely liquid when you put it onto the heat source, because it's going to re-liquefy. Very, very sticky. Honestly, I wish that I had saved a little bit of this parchment off to the side, rolled one of these babies up into a candy. I would probably regret that later, though. Nobody should eat that much, a big pile of sweetener. I mean, I guess it's up to you. It's just not really my thing. And don't think I'm going to sit down and eat this whole wheel of Brie by myself right now. That's going to be shared, of course. Oh, what did I just say? No, of course. I do as I say, not as I do. And use your protection and don't burn your paws. All right. We close her back up, and we're going to give it like another 6 or 7 minutes in there, and then we'll be ready. So I will be right back, and we will be all set. I'm just going to clean up my sticky mess here a little bit, and we will take that Brie out and try it. All right, everyone, let's get this out of the smoker and give it a taste, shall we? I'm going to go ahead and cut the power. Look at that. Oh, delightful. And the cheese is like super, super soft. I'm just going to scoop it out onto, well, first I'm going to close my smoker. 1 second here. There we go. Gosh, I got a lot of fiddling about to do this morning, don't I? But it will certainly make cleanup nicer. Bring my bacon back. And here you go. Brie with a sweetened nut topping. Toasted almonds. A lot of times people would probably use walnuts. I don't have walnuts. I don't have pecans. I have almonds, so that's what I used. Let me cut into this. Oh. Unfortunately, I don't know that I can really show you just how creamy and gooey it is. Maybe we can, just by virtue of... yeah, so there's our delicious, delightful, creamy cheese. And it just oozes right out of there. And I'm going to do something that I normally don't remember to do because we're recording. But I'm going to take a picture of this so we can post it in the groups on that daily food thread. There you go. Alright, so here we go. Let's take a taste. And yes, you just eat the whole thing, right, with the rind and everything. That lovely smoking process is going to meld it all together. Oh my God. It's just heavenly. So, and maybe that was too big of a bite, but I just couldn't help myself. So, all right, that is it for Cheese Friday. Actually, I feel like there was more I was going to tell you, but I can't remember right now. So, but I thought that was pretty good enough. We got a recipe and a little bit about Brie. I hope that you guys get to try it and that you enjoy it. So I will talk to you all later. I'll see you on Sunday for our live stream where we're going to make a cappuccino and some stuffed mini smoked meatballs. So that should be awesome. And don't forget that if you missed it, go back and do the replay for last week's live stream where we had our special fancy pants extra expensive coffee, and leave a comment there, and it's going to be very important the following week when we do our cold brew. Very important. Go back and make sure that you watch it and you leave a comment on last week's live stream. So I will see you all later. Bye bye.